Hey guys, girls and everyone in between, and welcome back to Nimby Rails. My name is Syra, and in this series I will take you on a journey through Europe. Welcome to Estonia. In the last episode we finished the line to Narva. Today we will go south and schedule a lot of lines. Off camera I built the lines from Tallinn to Viljandi, Pärnu and Tartu, as well as Tartu to Valga and Koidula, and the line between Koidula and Valga. In the time-lapse you can see 3 stations being built. Koidula, Valga and Tartu, which are the 3 main stations for this episode. All 3 stations will see line service by the end of this episode, and I had a lot of fun building those stations. From Koidula I end the train line at the river on the border to Russia, as Koidula is the very last stop before the Russian territory. Also, the station consists of a lot of cargo tracks for border crossing trains. Maybe we will have that in the future. Here you can see the construction of Valga station. While building the station, I really thought a lot about Latvia and the connection down to Latvia, as Valga is the only station right now with a direct connection to Latvia from Estonia. There are no other rail crossings from Estonia to Latvia in this area. This will change one day in the future when Rail Baltica is finished and there will be a more direct connection between Riga and Tallinn. In my run through Nimby Rails, the station will see 3 direct lines. One down to Riga one day, one to Koidula later this episode, and also one towards Tartu station. When we are already talking about Tartu station, here you can see the time-lapse of the station, and this will be 1 out of 2 stations on the entire network that will have a time transfer to another line. The other one will be Lele on the way to Pärnu and Viljandi, but at that station as well there's a time transfer. The train line from Pärnu to Lele will wait in the station of Lele for the train from Viljandi to Tallinn, and also the train in the other direction from Tallinn to Viljandi, so there will be 3 trains. The same will happen here at Tartu station, with the train arriving from Tallinn, and waiting in the station already will be the trains from Koidula and the train from Valga. So this station will be a local hub to funnel all the passengers towards Tallinn. In this episode I want to get a little bit more into the detail with how I schedule the lines. Let's do a step-by-step tutorial. It's not a real tutorial, don't worry. Step 1, create a line in a line step. Step 2, add stops to the line. Stops can be stations or waypoints. Waypoints are normally pairs, but you can use them to let trains stop on the tracks without being at the station. This can be helpful if you have a single track line with a very short part of double track lines where there's no station. You can let a train stop there to let another one pass. Passengers won't get off the trains at waypoints, so don't worry about them. Stops at the stations are normally set to a 30-second period, but that time can be customized for the schedules. As you can see here, I repeated step 1 and 2 for all the lines I wanted to create in this episode, and let's get on to step 3. So step number 3 is not necessary, but I generally do it because it just makes things a little bit easier. I change the stop time and customize it to end up with full minutes only. So when a train arrives at 12 seconds after the full minute, I change the stop time from 30 seconds to 48 seconds. This way the train will depart the station at the full minute. Not necessary, but it makes the schedules visually better. You may already ask why. Just to explain it to you, you have 6 numbers at the hour. So for example, the first 2 numbers are the hour, the second 2 numbers are the minutes, and the third 2 numbers are the seconds. This way, your seconds will always be 0, 0, because of course the trains always depart at the full hour. This makes it a bit easier because you only have to look at 4 numbers, the first 2 numbers for the hour and the second 2 numbers for the minutes. And if you have a train service that runs every 60 minutes, it makes it even easier because you only have to check 2 numbers and that are the 2 numbers for the minute to make better and easier schedules. And also, when you have a huge station, like for example maybe Köln Hauptbahnhof in Germany, you only have to check 2 numbers to see if your train fits in the schedule or on the platform or not. So this makes life very easy, and let's get to step number 4. Step number 4, buy some trains. For Estonia I use the Startler currently in the DMU and EMU setup. When you have a lot of passengers on your line, buy longer trains with a higher capacity. If you want to use a shorter train but you need a higher capacity, just make it a double traction, just put a second train behind it. And also, when you expect a lot of passengers in the future, just use the big trains right from the beginning. It costs a bit more, but in the later run you won't regret it, and you don't have to take care of the lines and buy new rolling stock. When you build a small sideline to funnel just a few extra passengers into your network, like we will do in the next episode, by the way, buy yourself smaller trains. With good mods, like you find in the Steam Workshop, the small trains cost way less upfront, and they also cost way less in maintenance than bigger trains, which makes them financially more viable on the small sidelines. And once you're done with everything, there are only 2 more steps. Step number 1, create a schedule for your trains, or just auto-run them for 24/7. And step number 6, open the line and earn yourself some money back. Like I already said earlier, Lelle Station will play a very important role in the region. Here you can see one train from Lelle to Pärnu already sitting at the station, and another train from Viljandi to Tallinn also waiting at the station, and from the north there is a train coming from Tallinn to Viljandi. This design of a local station gives you a lot of options, because the train from Pärnu to Lelle, which will play a bigger role later on, can carry passengers to the stations, and the passengers don't need to wait very long until they are picked up by a train towards Tallinn or towards Viljandi. So this is from schedule side, and also for the passengers, this is just a perfect design which you can go for. It's not the best because the trains don't run from Pärnu all the way to Tallinn, but you can go to Lelle, wait a few minutes, and then you can go on to Tallinn, which makes it a bit easier to operate on the single tracks for me, and it only costs like 2, 3, 4 minutes more that you otherwise also would lose if you would need to wait en route somewhere on the sideline just to let another train pass, because Lelle to Tallinn is mostly single track, which is a bit of a shame, but this is my solution for it. I don't want through running trains from Pärnu to Tallinn, so this is what I went for, and we have this beautiful view on 3 trains sitting at the station at the same time. And also off camera I did the scheduling for the other lines. You already know how it works, just a little bit. Most of it. Okay, let's say like that, most of it. I did the lines towards Tartu, and oh, it's magic, I also did the lines to Valga, to Koidula, and between Valga and Koidula. Having all 3 lines up and running, this leaves us with the same situation like in Lelle earlier. We have 2 trains sitting in the station, waiting for the 3rd train, so that there's a time transfer in Tartu station, so that passengers from Koidula, passengers from Valga, and later also from Latvia, arrive in the station, and they have enough time to swap the train to Tallinn. In-game, just as a small advice, you don't need long transfer times, because in this game currently passengers deboard and board and don't care too much about the connectivity from the platform where they exit the train to where they enter the next train. That time is completely irrelevant. So at the end of this episode, we have basically rebuilt the current Estonian railway network, all the way from the south, from Valga and Koidula, to the north in Tallinn, to the east in Narva, and to the west in Haapsalu. Okay, Haapsalu maybe is a reactivated line, but everything is up and running. Here, for example, you can see the trams sitting in a depot and getting their good night's sleep. So if I speed up a little bit, you can see all the trams are leaving the line at Kopli to enter the depot for a good night's sleep. These are not all the trams we have. We of course have a second depot in the city where a few more trams are sitting. We also have a depot along the station of Bala where one tram will depart early in the morning. We have quite a few trains, nearly 50 trains, which are running for us now. You can see most of them are sleeping right now as it's nighttime, but I am quite happy with how Estonia turned out, and I hope you liked it as well. And in the next episode, we will reactivate a few lines, and after that, it is time to leave Estonia.